Six young girls were buried in the desert in Texas, and the man they arrested claimed that he didn't do it. Between May and September of 1987, young girls started disappearing in El Paso, Texas. One by one, six girls ages 13 to 24 disappeared without a trace. Most of these girls were last seen alone, walking or hitchhiking, and when their bodies started turning up, they were all buried in shallow graves in a desolate part of the desert. That's when the city realized that they had a serial killer, and police had one name that kept coming up: David Leonard Wood. Wood had already had a dark past. In 1976, he was convicted of a child. He was sentenced to 20 years but only served 9. He was released in 1987, just months before the unalivings began. He lived and worked near where the bodies were found, a stretch of desert near Trans Mountain Road, scattered with brush and sand dunes. Police noted that all the victims were buried in similar ways: shallow, rushed, like someone didn't want to be seen. Whoever did this knew that desert. But the case against Wood wasn't airtight. There was no fingerprints, no murder weapon, no physical DNA tying him directly to the victims. What police did have was pattern, proximity, and one survivor. A teenage girl testified that Wood took her to that same desert and that she barely escaped before anything happened. Her story mirrored the fate of the other victims, and prosecutors used this to paint the full picture. Wood was a predator and the desert was his hunting ground. In 1992, he was convicted and sentenced to death. Here's where the case gets even darker and more complicated. Wood still claims that he is innocent and that the real killer is still out there. His attorneys argued that the state's entire case was circumstantial, built on his past, no solid proof. Multiple appeals have followed. In recent years, advocates have pushed for new DNA testing on remaining evidence. So far, no results have overturned his conviction, but the question still remains. And with no forensic evidence, some wonder, did they get the wrong man, or did a serial killer simply outsmart the system? 6 young girls were left in the sand. One man sits on death row, but decades later, the truth still remains in the desert. This is the true crime story of David Leonard Wood.